Today there were over 900 people who came down with this virus, and there were several more deaths every single day. In fact, I can recall when we have reported on any given day where there have not been people dying from the coronavirus. Look, I'm very disappointed by the decision of the governor. Quite frankly, to put it in very stark terms, it makes no sense. You know, are we making progress in getting our arms around this virus? Absolutely. Have the number of hospital admissions come down dramatically? Yes. At one point in time, in the last, let's say in the last 30-some days, 2,300 people in hospitals. This morning when I looked, the number was a little under 12, a little above 1,200. But the positivity rate that we announced yesterday was 11.8%. The goal is to get it down to 5% or below and keep it down, to crush the virus. We are not there yet. We are simply not, we're not there yet. And so what the governor's pronouncement to end the statewide mass order next Wednesday, to go to 100% in terms of our businesses, it really undermines all of the sacrifices that have been made by medical professionals, doctors, nurses, EMS workers, firefighters, police officers, municipal workers, people in the community, a lot of sacrifices that have been made at every single level. It just works against, minimizes all of those efforts. And it's the third time when the governor has stepped in, when things were going in the right direction, made a decision, and things got worse. If you can recall, at the end of April, things were trending in the right direction. Governor steps in, opens things up, and then we face June, July, and August. And then during the fall, things were going in the right direction. Governor steps in, and then November, December, January. Things now going in the right direction. Governor steps in. The other thing, and Dr. First, I believe, less than 15% of Texans have gotten the vaccine. Less than 15%. The goal is to get up to like 70, 80, 85% for herd immunity. Less than 15. And so until people can get their vaccine, what is the protection? You know, in large part it's the mask. In many cases wearing two. But it's the mask that's providing that level of protection. So just very disappointed. It's a step in the wrong direction. It doesn't make any sense unless the governor is trying to deflect from what happened a little more than 2 weeks ago with the winter storm. Statewide system failure, not just by ERCOT, and not just by the Public Utility Commission, where they have asked people to resign, but also state leadership failure on something that was foreseeable and preventable going back to 2011. Okay? When more than 50,000 single-family households in the city of Houston, I believe, have had like busted water pipes and still recovering. Mass food and water distributions. Okay? And so unless the government is trying to deflect from that statewide, system-wide, national embarrassment and system failure, and to have us now just focusing our attention on the statewide mass order, either way is failure to lead on both fronts. And it's disappointing and it's disheartening. And it will have an impact on creating confusion in terms of getting people to move and continue to move in the right direction. So let me yield at this point, and I yield to Dr. Peirce.
Thank you, Mayor. And like the Mayor, I'm at a bit of a loss for words. I just want to hit on a couple of things. One is, over this past year, if this virus has taught us anything, it's taught us that this virus adheres to no rules. When we think about the cold virus that we've all had, it pretty much gets in your nose, maybe into your mouth, but it just affects the nose and the mouth. Flu, it'll get into your lungs. People die from the flu every year. Makes your muscles ache, but pretty much it's just in your lungs and your throat, and it stays there. This virus attacks every organ system, the brain, the heart, the kidneys, the intestines, the skin, and if it's taught us anything else over this past year is that anytime we give it an opportunity to rear its ugly head, it will absolutely take that opportunity. It has done it every single time. If there's anything it's been consistent about, it's been that. And so, in the wake of the governor's order, which will go into effect next week, I would like to urge Houstonians that just because the governor no longer has the mandate, that doesn't mean that we can't step up and fill the void and behave the way that we know slows this virus down. You can still wear masks. You can still avoid crowded places. You can still, for the businesses that are going to go to 100%, you can vote with your feet as to whether or not you want to go there. Remember, the person, if you become infected, and let's remember that somewhere in the neighborhood of 40% of the people who are infected have no symptoms and have no idea that they're spreading it. This is why when we as a community, with the leadership at the state level, it's mask mandates and occupancy rules, that's why we're able to have some control. Because otherwise, with 40% of the people having no idea that they're spreading the virus will take advantage of that opportunity. And I'll just close with one thing. Remember that if you're infected and you're spreading the virus, the person you are single most likely to spread it to is a member of your very own family.
So let me just say, for all city venues, all city facilities, okay, all city employees, you're still obligated to wear that mask. Not through next Wednesday, but all the way through, okay, until I tell you otherwise. So for all city facilities, if you're going to the library, if you're going to the George R. Brown Convention Center, okay, any city facilities or city venues, you will still be obligated to wear your mask. I'm also going to ask the legislators to speak up. The legislators, Texas House of Representatives, Texas senators, they need to say something, and they need to speak up as well. And then again, just bear in mind that less than 15% of the people have gotten their shots. That means 85+% of Texans are without their shots. Everybody starts taking off their masks. This virus will continue to spread. Okay, so you know, disappointing, but I hope that that people will continue to keep their masks on. We'll stop, take whatever questions you
Mayor, a couple of questions. First one, personal. You stand here before us appearing somewhat defeated and lacking the energy you normally have behind the mic.
Well, I don't feel, I don't feel defeated. I am disappointed by the decision made by the governor. But I don't feel defeated. Now, do I feel for individuals, for example, who have not gotten their shots, and the people who have sacrificed, like doctors and nurses and EMS workers and firefighters and police officers who have been on the front line and who have sacrificed, many municipal workers who have died? Do I feel for the families of Floyd LeBlanc, the funeral I went to on Saturday, who worked with me with Centerpoint, but was on the executive loan program during Hurricane Harvey, and was with me every single day during Harvey, and who was buried on Saturday because he died of coronavirus? Do I feel for the 500,000 families across the United States who have died? And the fact that we have been making progress and moving in the right direction, and then for a state leader, the governor, to, without any real need to say, take your mask off, to do that? I don't feel defeated. I'm very disappointed, okay? Because we're talking about lives. And what about schools, teachers, who don't necessarily want to go back to in-person class because they're fearful of getting this virus? Businesses that have shut down or who have closed. Many won't open again. So that's what people, these long lines, wanting to get the vaccine. And all of a sudden, you're saying to Texans, starting next Wednesday, you can take your mask off, as if the virus is going to stop because the governor said it? No. I am disgusted by things that are foreseeable and preventable. And I'm disgusted by leadership 10 years ago that could have taken prudent steps, but didn't. And now there are people, thousands, with busted water pipes and no water. And then on the cusp of that, 2 weeks later, for the governor to be making this decision after failing to act years ago? No, I don't feel defeated. I'm going to still do my job here in the city of Houston. I'm going to do my job. But the people who are vulnerable to this virus, get this virus, may end up in the hospital and may end up dying, those are the ones who I'm speaking for. No, he's the governor. But even the governor should be held accountable. And people should call him out when he makes a wrong decision. There's no reason for the decision that he made today. Absolutely not. And except maybe you're trying to appeal to a group that will find favor with you saying, take the mask down. But what about the rest of us? Okay? So, disappointed. And as Texans, we don't all, why must Texas always be in the national news for making decisions that go contrary to science and the medical professionals and data? You tell me how many other states are doing the same thing, saying no to masks. Why must we be always out front on these type of decisions? We were just out front with the winter storm. That was a national embarrassment. And now this decision today? No. Hashtag Houston Strong, still standing. And in spite of, I believe many people will continue, I hope, to do the right thing.